Welcome to this episode of Literocity. We're here at the Mahaffey Theater in downtown St. Petersburg, where several of our middle school students will get to experience the literary works of W. Jacob live on stage.
Take comfort in the fact that the wretched thing to take our Herbert in the first place.
Then we'll go to Countryside High School, where they're using some innovative educational practices in their English language arts classrooms in order to prepare the students for the FSA writing exam. And through the Pinellas Education Referendum, our middle school world language students get to see their second language come alive in the classroom. All of that coming up on this episode of Literocity. I'm Chastity Downing, and welcome to Literocity. We're here at the Mahaffey Theater in downtown St. Petersburg, where some of our middle school students are in for a special treat. Many of our middle school students from across the district were treated to a morning of suspense by the Encore Theater Company.
Poe was a man whose imagination was capable of plummeting to the darkest depths of the human soul.
This group performed some of the famous works from Edgar Allan Poe, such as The Telltale Heart, Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, as well as The Monkey's Paw by W. Jacobs. Our students have been working on the element of suspense in their language arts classes. So after this amazing experience, we spoke with Ms. Tarini's class to get their thoughts on the performance. So tell me, the performance that you guys saw at the Mahaffey, how does that connect to what you've been working on in the class?
I say it's something that we was reading about and learning about, and be able to just do more than read about it, but actually see it would have a more connection to the story than just its schoolwork to do.
What effect has watching the live performance had on your ability when you come back in the classroom to connect with all kinds of literature? How's that going to help you further?
I think it'll help us to go back and review our answers to kind of make changes, because the play was able to confirm some of our theories and questions we still had. So it could help us make some changes to our previous answers on the work we did before we saw the play.
So I know you guys have been working on suspense in the classroom. What connections did you make about suspense when you saw the live performances?
I feel like when we were reading the story, it was less suspenseful because we weren't in the situation, but when we saw the live performance, we were really put in the story, so we understood how much suspense there was.
So it really opened our eyes to what was actually happening in the stories and made us understand further what was going on.
So what connections were you hoping that your students made to the play versus what you've been working on with these same literary works in your classroom?
I was hoping they would see that you could do different perspectives. So, for example, when we read Telltale Heart in the classroom, we naturally assumed the speaker was a man, but in the play, the speaker narrator was a woman.
How does watching the plays bring alive what students actually read in the books?
We did watch the Monkey's Paw video to go along with our text, but it was interesting because in the play, it was Sergeant Major Morris's wife as opposed to himself as the person bringing the monkey's paw, which the students really recognized and saw the difference. I think that it brings more tone, more mood into what the students may have read, which is the text, so that they get a little bit more feel of the feelings the characters had, the characteristics.
So now that you guys have returned to the classroom, what are some of the next steps that you guys will do with the play versus what you're doing with your literary works?
So my students wrote 2 essays, one on the common elements of horror, and then one on which is more interesting, fact or, which is scarier, real life or fiction. So we're going to go back, review those essays based on what we saw in the play so they can revise and add in other perspectives.
And what kind of community connections do you think the students made by being able to go down to the Mahaffey for these plays?
I think for some students, it might be the only time they go to the Mahaffey, so it was an experience just to be in the theater, especially such a landmark in St. Petersburg.
When we come back, we'll see some innovative teaching techniques being used around the district. Literocity returns in a moment.